What is up, beautiful people? Welcome back to my channel. So today I'm giving you another edgy, bold, dramatic look. And today I'm actually going to be doing a little bit of a battle. Not my battle of the foundations. I'm just going to be doing a battle of two palettes that one claims to be a remastered, reformulated, much smoother consistency palette, and one is the original one back from 2016. So of course we're talking about the Huda Beauty Rose Gold Remastered palette. So now this one has the 18 shades inside of here. Now includes a mirror, and it has a really pretty picture of Huda on the front. Look at that little foiled effect. And then of course we have the original palette right here. This is the Rose Gold palette that she came out with in 2016. I'm filming this video for you guys because of course that one is discontinued. This one is the brand new formulation, and I want to give you guys the true tea on it. Is it worth it? Should you pick it up? Is it worth the $65 splurge? What is your preference? If you already have the old one, should I get the new one, etc. So if you want to see the look that I did today, the swatches, and of course my review on this palette, then keep on watching. So I already do have both palettes in front of me. I have the Huda Beauty Textured Eyeshadow Palette Rose Gold Edition with 3 ready-to-layer textures: Deep Matte, 3D Metal, and Pressed Pearls. As you can see, this one has no mirror, and it just has the shadows in here. This one was originally launched in 2016, I believe, 2016. So this was the original Rose Gold palette. So next up, we have the Huda Beauty Rose Gold Palette Remastered, and as you can see, Huda on the front, it's really pretty, like, textured going around the front, and then we have 4 ready-to-layer textures: 8 buttery mattes, 8 melted metals, 1 wet and dry jet black, and 1 highlighting pressed pearl. So it does come with a full-size mirror this time, and there is some shades that are different. You do get the same amount of shades that are in both of these palettes. If you can see that, they're pretty massive palettes, honestly. But you can see that you get the same amount of shades right in here, but you can tell there is some differences. Today's look, we're pretty much just going to be doing a look with both of these palettes because obviously this whole entire video is a review on the remastered version of this palette. But on this eye, I'm going to be doing the remastered. On this eye, I'm going to be doing the original textured palette. Of course, going to be using all the shades that you can use in the new palette as well. So, kind of just giving a comparison of which one do I feel was the better formula. Quick, before I zoom you guys in and before we get started with this look, I'm going to give you guys some swatches because that's the one thing I have not seen a lot of people do except for Huda herself. I want to show you guys some swatches of the old versus the new palette. So let's first start off with the old palette. So the swatches are Dubai, Fling, 24K, Rose Gold, Trust Fund, Angelic, Hashtag Blessed, Bossy, Flamingo, Shy, Bay, Moon Dust, Black Truffle, Suede, Cocoa, Maneater, Henna, Sandalwood. These are all the original ones. Like I said before, Bossy, Flamingo, Shy, Bay, and Angelic are gone. They're not in the new palette, so just to let you know that a little bit. But these shades are kind of similar. Next up, we have the remastered edition. Here is Dubai, Fling, Trust Fund, Rose Gold, Pink Diamond, 24K, Risque, Dollface, Demure, Hashtag Blessed, Moon Dust, Bubbly, Black Truffle, Suede, Cocoa, Maneater, Henna, and Sandalwood. Now I zoomed you guys in nice and close. We're going to get started with the eyes. Now after swatching the palettes, I do feel like the mattes are not as creamy as it's kind of proclaimed. I did really have to pack them on. So I have to say the metallics in both of them, the textures and the metallics in this one, they're both stunning, buttery, smooth. I love them, but the mattes are a little harder to work with, as you can see from the black and of course the red and everything like that. So gonna be very cautious but very optimistic at the same time because this one did work for me. I feel like with all shadows when it comes to mattes, you gotta just make sure you blend as much as you can. This eye, I'm gonna go in with the shade Demure right here. Even though it's, I would say it's the same thing as Shy, it's just going to be a little bit of a different tone maybe. Not exactly sure. I didn't really do a side-by-side comparison, which I should have done. By looking at both, I think both of them are actually stunning. I can definitely tell the difference in tone. This one is a little bit more of like a pinky mauve. This one has a little bit more like a peach tone to it in a way. Both of them look actually really stunning, so I do like both of them. But I'll have to say that this side so far looks a little bit better. But I will say this side had a little bit more powder cake back than this one. Now it is time to go in with a little darker, a little bit more tone to it. I'm going to go in with the shade Henna on both sides, obviously.
Are we dreaming? 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 Are we dreaming?
The shade Henna, I feel like the color and the pigmentation of this one was a lot better, but I feel like the blendability of this one was a little bit easier in my personal opinion. Like, I'm just looking at both of them. This one just kind of looks a little softer, this one kind of looks a little harsher, so of course I kind of have to like blend a little bit, but honestly the color of this one is so much better. A little bit more of a fun tone to this. I'm going to of course add some more color to the crease. I'm going to go in with the shade Maneater right here. I wanted to add a little bit more of a red fieriness to this look. Both of those look extremely identical. Both of them blended pretty decently. I feel like this one blended a little bit more pigmented at first go round, so I would say that one's a little better. But this one just kind of looks a little bit more clean, if that makes sense. Of course, because I want to smoke it out just a little bit, I'm going to take the shade Black Truffle in both palettes. I'm just going to kind of pop that on the outer corners of the eye.
Are we dreaming? Are we dreaming? Are we dreaming? We dreaming. We dreaming. We dreaming.
So looking at both shades, I feel like this black looks a lot better. This black kind of went on smoother, but this one blended easier. In a way, it was just more pigmented, which is a good and bad thing at the same time. My eyes are already like fiery red and black and everything going on in between. I thought I would add some gold because of course I love me some gold. And I'm going to do a comparison of the 24K shadow. So now I'm going to apply these with a brush. I'm going to apply them with a brush, whatever, and then if they just don't work, I will apply with my finger, because I know that the old texture shadows, you've got to apply with the finger for them to get a little bit of payoff, while the new ones, she said you can use a brush. So with a dry brush, it did not do anything for me. So let me just take my finger really quick. You can see the pigmentation on there. Did go on pretty smooth, which is really nice. It just did not go on as pigmented as I was thinking it was going to. So let me just try to wet the brush really quick. Now it is time for 24 karat on this side. Of course I am going to be using a brush because I want to give it a full effect and see what happens. I feel like this is definitely not going to do anything for me, but we will definitely give it a go. But see, this one's still giving me a little bit more color payoff. Now let me just try to apply it with my finger. As you can see, hold the pigment. Look at the difference. You can just kind of see the difference. A little bit of fallout on my face. Honestly, it's not too terrible. But in this one, it's a little bit chunkier. Yes, I get it. It's a little bit chunkier, but at the same time, there's so much more reflective pigment to it than this one did. Now for the lower lash line, of course, we're going to go in with the shade Henna because I wanted to kind of tie the looks together. Henna, maybe a little bit of Black Truffle as well in the outer corner.
Are we dreaming? Are we dreaming? Are we dreaming?
For the lower lash line, this side looks a lot better. Like, that side went out beautifully, it blended, it was pigmented. This side, as you can see, is a little bit patchy, a little bit. So not as obsessed with this one on this side, but this one's much better. So it is now time for inner corner, brow bone highlight. Of course, we're going to go in with the shade Moon Dust for both sides. Now that I am done with these eyes, I am going to throw on some mascara and some lashes and a lip, and I will be right back with you guys. Now that the lip is on and the eyes are done, the look is complete, and I'm actually living for the way that my look is right now. It's just so edgy and bold, and my lash is coming off just a little bit, but I really don't give a fuck. And honestly, it's looking really, really good. So now, before I go, I'm going to give you guys my final thoughts, obviously, on this palette situation, like which one do I recommend, and what I would think of the remastered formula of the Rose Gold palette. So, looking at both of my eyes right now, just by looking at them from a far away distance, from up close, whatever, which palette do I recommend the most? The Remastered. I do recommend the Remastered more because, like, I know what people are going to say. Oh, well, you're only doing that because it's the new formulation. Are you only doing that because you like Huda's palettes? Oh, you're only doing that because it's a lot of money. No, only reason why I'm doing it is because I feel the matte blended beautifully on the eye. The metallics, yes, were a little bit harder to work with because they are creamy, yes, still very creamy, but honestly, they blended beautifully and they picked up a lot more pigment later on. But I would have to say that just by looking at the way that my eye looks, it looks more blended, it looks cleaner, it looks softer in a way, even though it's a bold look, but it just went on and picked up a lot more pigment and went on beautifully. I think the textured shadow that's right here is beautiful and it gives a lot more pigment, but you can definitely see the lines of my eye, you can see the creasing of my eye, you can see a lot more texture, if you will. And honestly, the matte black was a little bit harder to work with, as this one was a lot more smoother, and of course, the lower lash line was giving me a little bit of a hard time. I will have to say, I'm really kind of shocked at how subtle the difference was of these two palettes. I would have to say there's about 25% of a difference, really. The formulation, yes, is a little bit better, a little bit smoother, but I feel like the mattes could have been more comfortable, like more, you know, like one swipe down the arm kind of pigment. It just didn't really give me that. It still was a little bit harder to work with, but on the eye with a brush, it was phenomenal. So swatches never do justice. Never. If you do not want to spend the $65 on this palette, then I do not push that upon you. And if you already have this palette, I don't think that it's that big of an issue to get this one. Do you know what I mean? So if it were a lot different, if the metallics were a little bit more reflective and the mattes were a little bit more buttery, I would have said, just throw this one away. You don't need this anymore. You can buy the brand new one and you're good to go. But if you already have the old one, I don't think that it's worth to spend the $65 again. Does that make sense? I feel like this one's a lot better, and if you do not have the original one, then I say go for this one. If you do not have this one, go for this one. It is phenomenal. So I will have to say, I recommend it. If you're a person like me who loves to collect makeup, I have both, so I like both. This one just worked a little bit better for me. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Make sure you thumbs it up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys in the very near future. Love you. Bye.